This is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Morning. Getting the week off right here, 11 o'clock in the morning here in the Q's, here in Central New York. Not getting snowed on like the entire East Coast, so good for us. We'll still take our 130 inches or whatever we got and wave it in their faces. But not us today. Wear it, East Coast. As welcome in here on this Monday. No game midweek here this week for Orange basketball. So a rare Monday of Live in the 315 where we will not have no wrong answers today. We'll lay out the schedule for the week and all of that upcoming, and let's launch into it right now. It is our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu for the week, and yes, where is the Thompson Road Tavern? It's on Thompson Road. Where do you think it is? It's Monday, so we know what happens on Monday at the Thompson Road Tavern. $5 Nashville hot sandwich. $5 Nashville hot sandwich. They got the chicken noodle soup. They got the whole thing. So there we go. Go check it out at the Thompson Road Tavern. Here's the schedule. I'll tell you the schedule for the week, then I'll get into the schedule for today. Schedule for the week, no midweek basketball game this week. Matt NY is excited about that. No midweek basketball game this week. So we're live right now. Then we will be live on Wednesday night, me and Jordan TPS report. We'll be live again right here on Thursday in the 315 at 11 a.m. Lax on Friday. Lax lost a tough one to Harvard over the weekend. Syracuse lacrosse has fallen to 6th in the rankings. Princeton, which started out 3 and then fell back, then beat Maryland the other day, they are 7th in the rankings, so 6v7 Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock in Jersey. We'll join you for a post-game show after that one, 6:30ish on Friday night. And then on Saturday at the very normal tip time of 5:45, one guess what channel is that on? Shout out to the CW. Syracuse on the road at Wake Forest. We'll have post-game coverage for you after that game, 7:45ish on Sunday. There's a lax game on Sunday as well. I don't know. That's too far in the future to evaluate whether that's going to be on the schedule or not. So there we go. That is the schedule for the week. Yes, 6th in the country. The lacrosse poll is an absolute mess right now after the last weekend. JM, we'll get into that coming up. As far as our menu for the show today, we will tell you about last weekend, how it all went horribly wrong for everybody involved. The CW does that because they have nowhere to put the games, JM. Unlike ESPN, which you can at least put them somewhere, the CW is just totally screwed if there's an overlap. So they that's their game plan. We'll get into the weekend today. The ACC Weekly Zoom. I know you've been yearning to hear from Red. That's all I hear. Can we hear from Red? We'll get to that. Red is scheduled 11:30 on the ACC Weekly Zoom. I can see one Micah Shrewsbury of Notre Dame is pontificating something in front of a bookcase right now. We'll get to Red in about 25 minutes. And then following that, I think we'll wrap up the show today with a little Who's Next? Yeah, the irony of doing that right after Red. Not lost, but we will do that. No wrong answers today because nothing to not be wrong about before our next show coming up on Thursday. So there we are, our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu for the day. When are they open? They're open right now. They open weekdays at 11 a.m. for lunch. And, yeah, go there and get lunch. $5 Monday's Nashville hot chicken sandwich. So there we are, off and rolling here on the week. No, JM, that was as part of the lost weekend. Syracuse. Now, none of the losses in a bottle are all that shocking, right? Like, men's basketball losing to North Carolina. All right, like, is anyone stunned men's basketball lost to North Carolina? Now, due to the injury to Caleb Wilson and kind of the unknown state of Henry Visar, like, Syracuse actually opened the game, like, went off as the betting line favorite in the game on Saturday, which is kind of hurt my brain a little bit, and then obviously lost by 13 to Carolina. Lax you're coming off the epic high of the win against Maryland. You're on the road. It's snowbanks and the whole thing. And the main issue with the game on Saturday is that Harvard is also good. Harvard beat Syracuse this very same week last year in the Dome. It was a 1-goal game. Syracuse beat Harvard in overtime in the first round of the playoffs last year, so they play again this year. Ends up being a wild back-and-forth game, and Syracuse loses, pardon, the 1-goal game, which leads to your point about the polls here. Syracuse, this is a week, I used to vote in the Inside Lacrosse Media poll. I haven't done that in a few years. But, after weeks like this, and this early in the season, you're just kind of staring at it slack-jawed. I don't know. I don't know where to put teams. So here's what the voters did this week. Carolina, who was looking good early and just blew out Hopkins on Friday, is number 1. Notre Dame, who beat Georgetown yesterday, is number 2. Richmond, who had the big win over Virginia a couple weeks ago, is number 3. The Spiders. Harvard, which had been 14th, the voters are like, well, I suppose we should put them in front of Syracuse. They're 4th. Cornell, which went out to Denver and won over the weekend, is 5th. Syracuse is 6th. And all of those 6 teams right now in the Inside Lacrosse Media poll, each, including Syracuse, who just lost, all of them are receiving at least 1 first-place vote. Nobody is receiving more than 9. And you look at 2 through 5, it's 3, 3, 4, 2. Nobody knows what to do. And then Princeton, which started 3, dropped down to 12, I think, last week, is back to 7th after beating Maryland. So 6 versus 7 in Princeton, New Jersey, coming up on Friday. And then, JM, to your other point here, the women yesterday, I got to get the ACC standings up. The women yesterday, and again, I said this at some point last week, again, none of these losses in a bottle are shocking. NC State has been one of the best programs in the country over the last 5 years. They're not that this year, but they're still good. Syracuse was still playing in them in Raleigh, in which a place they hardly ever win. They have won there, but it is rare. And on top of that, Syracuse's schedule this year, they have beaten the tar out of the teams they're supposed to beat. They have absolutely beaten the tar out of the teams they're supposed to beat. The teams that have been ranked above them, Syracuse has been on the struggle bus. This is an NCAA tournament team. They're 21-6. They're 11-5 in the ACC. But you can be 21-6 and 11-5 in the league and be a 4 seed in the tournament, or you can be where Syracuse is, which is kind of hovering around the 8-9 line because you are lacking in major wins. And now, because of that loss on Sunday, you are in a tie for 4th place in the league, and at the moment, you're going to lose the tiebreaker with NC State and Virginia and not get the double bye in the conference tournament. Had the Orange women won yesterday, they would have been in the driver's seat to get at least the 4 seed, if not higher, in the conference tournament. Duke just absorbed their first women's basketball conference loss yesterday. They're 15-1. Louisville is 14-2. Carolina's 12-4. NC State's in front of them. What do all 4 of those teams have in common? That is 4 of Syracuse's 5 conference losses right there. And is Virginia their other one? Hang on. Quickly to the schedule. Oh, Virginia Tech's their other one. Virginia Tech is. All right, yeah. So Syracuse is currently on the women's side of things. They're 11-6. They're 11-5 in the league. They've lost to the team in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. They're tied. They're in a 3-way tied for 4th. They have beaten Virginia. Is that accurate? Yeah, they beat Virginia at Virginia, so that's their best win in the conference season. They're going to finish with Notre Dame and Boston College, and then their other losses to Virginia Tech, who's sitting half a game behind them. So Syracuse has lost to anybody anywhere near them in the conference standings this year. No chance they get sent to Storrs again. JM, I'd almost bet the opposite. They're going to Storrs until proven otherwise. Hop on the bus. Go to Storrs. Go to Storrs. Go to Storrs. Either way, the women are a tournament team, but they do not have a resume that's going to get them a seed that is going to put them on a path from advancing out of the first weekend. Let's put it that way. Unless they can do something crazy at the ACC tournament, which is apparently in Atlanta this year. Just they finally got it out of Greensboro. They got it out of Greensboro. So there we are. A little update on the weekend in which everyone played and everybody lost. It all went to hell. The women's tennis team went down to the Research Triangle and didn't win a freaking match against Duke or North Carolina. Like, everything's gone terribly wrong. Everything's gone terribly wrong. Let me look up our guy, Charlie Cream's latest bracketology. JM for the women. We do not need to check the men's bracketology. Charlie last updated this before Syracuse's loss to NC State, but I can't imagine a loss like that will have changed that much for Syracuse. Charlie, as of just before the weekend, had Syracuse as a 9 seed, playing 8 seed Illinois. Guess where, JM? Guess where Charlie had Illinois and Syracuse playing each other? Stores. A 10 seed would 100% be. Playing a 7, 8, 9, 10, there's no real difference in there. Like, it's tough to beat a 1 or 2 seed at their joint anyway. But do you want to be a 9 seed in Stores, or do you want to be a 10 seed in, let's see, who are the 2 seeds right now? You could be a 10 seed in, or you could go down to Baton Rouge. You could see Kim Mulkey. That's not going to be easy. You could go to Nashville. Vanderbilt's been kind of the surprise. They're like the 5th in the country right now. That's been kind of out of nowhere this year. The other 2 seeds right now, like Michigan. Syracuse got absolutely de-pantsed by Michigan earlier this year. But still, that would be easier than UConn. And Louisville's the other prospective 2 seed right now, so the Orange wouldn't go there. But yeah, you'd absolutely rather be a 10 than a 9 seed. Syracuse they're not beating the 1 seeds. The 1 seeds right now are UConn, UCLA, Texas, and South Carolina. You'd end up in any of those places in a fight for your life in the first round. If you win the game, you feel great, and then the next game, you get absolutely obliterated. The Orange have been through that multiple. How many times have they been in an 8 seed? They were an 8 or a 9. 3? Because they've had to go to Stores twice. One of those times UConn was not a 1 seed. The year the tournament was in the bubble in San Antonio, they were in UConn's pod anyway. I was like, what the hell? They won an 8-9 game. They beat South Dakota State and then lost to UConn. In 2015, the year before the national championship game appearance, they were an 8-9 game down in South Carolina. They beat Nebraska. It was a hell of a game in the first round, then got absolutely slaughtered by South Carolina in front of 12,000 very loud fans. And then 2017, the year after the national title game, another 8-9 game. They blew out Iowa State in the first round to play UConn in Stores. That's when UConn was on their like 100-plus game winning streak. It continued. So there we go. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. Did I say? I think pantsing and depantsing are almost the same thing. I think they're basically it's kind of a weird nomenclature. I think they're the same thing. Pantsing is like if you depants, would you pull them back up? That doesn't like I think they are. I think pantsing and depantsing are synonyms. It's a bizarre linguistic model for today. So either way, the Orange women's where is Syracuse at in the net? Women's basketball net. We can all Google together. I like Googling out loud. UConn is number 1, you'll be shocked to know. The team that Syracuse just lost to yesterday, NC State, is 23rd in the net. Syracuse is 39th in the net without significant major wins. Yeah, I mean, Syracuse could not profile more like an 8 or 9 seed if they tried. They could not look more like an 8 or 9 seed that's destined to hop on the bus and drive out to lovely Stores if they tried. And yes, UConn always plays those first-round games in Stores instead of Hartford, making the whole thing about 1,000,000 times worse. It just makes it all so worse. And then, you win the first round, then you're just like, yeah, Stores. Smells like cows. Shout out to Stores. Love Stores. Anyway, that's where we're at after the weekend. Has anything really changed for any of those 3 teams? No. Like, if Syracuse women had won yesterday, that could have been a bump up. That would have been a nice quad 1 road type win. If men's lacrosse had won on Saturday, yeah, you're still number 1. The loss, though, isn't necessarily damaging long term. in a big way unless things start going awry here with 5 more road games in a row to come. And, literally nothing changed for men's basketball with that game, and we still remain on the inevitable march toward the inevitable finish of this whole thing coming up in a couple weeks. The end could be as soon as 2 weeks from tomorrow. Do I have the right day? I believe 2 weeks from tomorrow is the first day of the ACC tournament. 2 weeks in Charlotte this year. That could be it. That could be it. So we got what is going on? My computer just went wild. It just popped up a screen in front of me. That was kind of crazy. We don't need any of that. Still waiting on Red on the ACC Zoom. There's nobody talking right now. Not one single person is talking right now. Red due at 11:30. Oh, Weeze is here, so let's restart the show. So anyway, the Thompson Road Tavern opening menu. What's up, Chef? I do have this important nugget, which all of you that are here for our 11 a.m. show on a Monday, you get to be the first people to know of this and share in it and potentially take advantage of it. As you can see on the screen right now, simplysweetsisters.myshopify.com. There has been a significant clamor for the coffee-scented candles, which right now, at this second, and maybe not very long, depending on how many you animals order up quickly, the coffee-scented candles, as of this morning, are back in stock. Like, as of right now, they're back in stock, and it's very possible, based on how much you guys have been absolutely clamoring for the coffee-scented candles, they may not be in stock by the end of the show. So the group of you that is here right now, you have officially got the jump, and that is why it's key to get here live in the 315. Yeah, massive scoop, Weeze. You're literally not hearing that anywhere else. Nobody else is talking about that. That's not on other shows. Nobody else is talking about coffee-scented candles. We are talking about the coffee-scented candles, which are back in stock, and they are. Kev, I imagine when you get home from work today, your order will be there. I think your order was delivered this morning. I do believe. So after you had left for work, but I believe when you get home today, your order should be there. So there we go. And yes, Jen, yours was delivered this morning, and Mike, yours was shipped out this morning. So everybody's stuff is on the way to various places. So there we are. Talk about breaking news. Like, some people want the breaking, like, Red got fired, this, that, whatever. No, we're not breaking that kind of news. We are breaking coffee-scented candle news. Who do I got tonight? UNC or Louisville? We all know I like to say Louisville. I mean, Louisville seems to be the wise answer, considering that Carolina's best player is not playing. Where's the game? The game's at Carolina. What's Louisville been up to recently? Syracuse will be in the Yum Center a week from tomorrow. Louisville just beat Georgia Tech by 17. Prior to that, a loss to SMU. Prior to that, 5 straight wins. Prior to that, got blown out by Duke. Yeah, I'm going to go Louisville tonight. Close. Louisville close. If it was in the Yum Center, I wouldn't hesitate. But no Caleb Wilson tonight will be the difference in the game that Carolina won't have their best player. So, yeah, let's no wrong answers. Louisville wins tonight. No wrong answers. Louisville wins tonight. Yeah, that's what happened. Good weekend followed by atrocious weekend. So maybe next weekend can be good too. Maybe they just alternate. I don't know. Good weekend, terrible weekend. Good weekend, terrible weekend. It's all possible. It's all possible. But we'll, Louisville, North Carolina. Will I watch that game tonight? No, probably not. Not feeling it. Big Monday, man. And this is not maybe it is a little bit a Big East ACC thing, but it's also the broadcast and the whole presentation. Big Monday used to be big. yeah, it was huge games every week. You had McDonough, Billis, and Raff, who were the best broadcast team for college basketball going, and the whole thing. And, even when it switched over to the ACC the first few years, it was still big. It was still like, man, you got to watch these games. It doesn't matter if your team is playing. Those were big games. Now it's like, who? What's playing? The where? And, shout out to Cuse guy Dave O'Brien, but there's a lot of Jay Williams. There's just a lot of Jay Williams on Big Mondays. A lot. The transfer portal for college basketball, Zach, this year opens the day after the national championship game. So it will open Tuesday, April, whatever that is. Tuesday, April, whatever that is. The latest it is opened. I'm not sure if the women's opens the same day. The women's might open the day before because their title game is Sunday. Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. Like, it was kind of, Gary's not afraid to just schedule a crazy game now. The problem is here that their next game is also outdoors in February. And then the game after that would be outdoors in February, except that Sunday is technically March. So Gary's playing 6 straight outdoor games this time of the year where, this weekend's going to be cold, right? I can't imagine it's going to be just warm in Princeton on Friday. Let's look up the Princeton, New Jersey weather. Hang on. We need the app. We're going to the app. We're loading the app. We're loading the. I'm sure they probably did, Wheeze. It's just there's nothing that's like that's going to be played at all down the line. It's not. It doesn't represent what lacrosse is like in May. The problem, though, is that Princeton, New Jersey. The problem is that if you lose too many of them now, it's going to affect your seeding significantly down the stretch. The high on Friday in Princeton, New Jersey is a balmy 39 degrees. Morning flurries dissipating as the day goes on. Currently in Princeton, New Jersey, there is a blizzard. And then Sunday, they'll be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at Penn, where there's also currently a blizzard. Sunday, it's going to be positively sunshiny on Sunday. It's 50 degrees out and sunny when the Orange head to Penn on Sunday. And then Penn can remember that, the last time Gary Gate dealt with them, he jumped over stuff and then he did that. And they can be like, oh, man. They still have they don't use coin anymore because it's still AstroTurf. They have outdoor space. Like there's an outdoor field right kitty corner to the Ensley Center that they can use. It's just Gary don't like to be cold, so I don't know how often they go outdoors. He said that like if the weather allows, and the weather was okay this past week, I'm sure they went outside at least once or twice. But it's just games like that when you're playing in 32 degrees, and I'm not saying they lost because of the weather. It's just so the opposite of what May lacrosse is like. It's just so the opposite of what May lacrosse is like that it's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard. Yeah, Princeton and Penn are not really that far apart. But the games are 2 days apart, so climate changes. Penn is technically more south than Princeton. Princeton in northern-ish New Jersey. Penn not in New Jersey. Because it's, Penn. Sylvania. It's in Pennsylvania. Though, a nice leisurely drive down the Jersey Pike or whatever road you'd take to. I've never gone from Princeton. I can't think of any reason I would have gone from Princeton to Penn at any point in my travels. I've gone to Princeton. I've certainly gone to Philadelphia, though I don't recall if I've ever actually been on Penn's campus. I don't know if I've ever been on Penn's campus. I've seen many lacrosse and basketball games in the city. I've been to Villanova multiple times. Been to what was then PP whatever park that's now named for something else, where they had the ACC tournament right on the river a few times. That was a great place for lax. I don't think I've ever been to Penn. Have I ever been to Penn? Been to Temple, Drexel, Villanova. Maybe. Have I been to St. Joe's? Might have been to St. Joe's. Been to most of the schools in the area. Have not been to. I don't think I've been to Penn. I'm just going to sit here and think about my trips to been to lax games at Lincoln Financial Field. In fact, before last year, that was Syracuse's most recent Final Four. Was Lincoln Financial Field. Jeff, I think it was just like, is Syracuse better than 6th? Probably, but it's a week 3 ranking where there's no good way to do it if you're a poll store. You're like, well, Harvard beat them. They should probably be ahead of them. And then Carolina, and like, there's some teams that are still undefeated. There's 6 teams that are receiving first place votes. 6 teams that are receiving first place votes. There's just no good way to do it. Drexel is next door to Penn. That is fact. Like, I've been Penn adjacent. I just don't think I've ever been at Penn. There was one WNIT run many moons ago where Syracuse played, I think it was Temple and Drexel in back-to-back games. And for some reason, like, one game was on a Monday and the other was on like a Friday, and the team stayed there the whole time. Like, they played the game, I left, went back to Syracuse, did a lacrosse game, which ironically was against Villanova in the Dome, and then like went back to Philly, and just everyone was still there. It's like, you guys are all still here. My hotel key still worked, and the whole thing. It was ridiculous. Like, what is going on? What is the WNIT? It's the most ridiculous thing that could ever possibly exist. All right, we should be fast closing on the red here for the ACC Zoom. I would think Andy Enfield, who was just cheerful in that post-game press conference when he was in the Dome the other day, also looks cheerful this morning. So he should be wrapping up shortly, and then we'll see what Red has to say about life. Your wife just went from Penn to Princeton. Yeah, it's not hard. I just don't think I've ever directly gone from one to the other. When I've gone to Princeton, I've come from here. And generally, when I've gone to Philadelphia, I've come from here. And at some point in those trips, your route diverges because one requires more southerly trekking, and one requires you to take a turn to the east. Princeton also not that far from Rutgers, but that really also has nothing to do with anything. What's the penalty for skipping the presser? We may find out coming up in 1 minute. I see Chris Carlson waiting to ask questions, so he'd be very upset if he doesn't have anybody to ask questions for. That's quite the Charlie Brown feel for it. Who's Lucy? Who's doing the Lucy? Whoop! Just all of us. Donnie, who's the Lucy of the Syracuse basketball season this year? Kind of feels like it might be Donnie. Is Red the Lucy? Red's the Charlie Brown. Red's 100% the Charlie Brown. Who is the Lucy of the Syracuse basketball season? Donnie, Cayenne. I'm leaning Donnie being the Lucy of the Syracuse basketball season. Yeah, I think Donnie is Lucy. Yeah, that's what I'm leaning. 2 straight conference wins versus SMU's Cal is Lucy. The games you win can't be Lucy. Or that was setting it up so the ball could be pulled out from you against Duke, Tronic. I suppose that could be it. That could be it. All the Houston and OT is Lucy, the false hope. And then the rest of Lucy was the Iowa State game. Like, that week was the ball going from here to here. We are Charlie Brown. I'd say Red, I mean, did you see the look on Red's face after Donnie got that first technical? That was a very just like Charlie Brown despair, nothing he can do about it, frazzled look on his face. The fans are Charlie. Just everyone in the metaphor is Charlie Brown. That's also possible. All right, we are looking for Red. Okay, I see Donna Datota. I see Chris Carlson. We don't yet see Red. I want to full screen this. There we go. Okay, who is Snoopy? I mean, Snoopy's a good time. You think Snoopy's soiree? Is he just is Snoopy off on just like side adventures? Snoopy is Carmelo. Yeah, Snoopy might be mellow, just like. You know, he's off having fun over here, and every now and again he shows up, and Charlie's just still miserable. And then Snoopy heads off, and he's like drinking root beer with a Red Baron and the whole thing. Woodstock is Lala. Who does that make Cayenne then? Yeah, is Cayenne like one of just the other birds that's friends with Woodstock that are always getting like lost and confused? Yeah, it's all possible. It's all in play. Is there a way? Is there a way for you to watch the ACC calls as well? Well, Jeff, I'm going to show you the ACC call as well here shortly. But no, Jeff. In the email I get about it, it threatens me with penalties upwards, including a scolding, if I give out the information to the ACC calls. So no, these are media calls, Jeff. They are tightly guarded. Pigpen? Who's Pigpen? Who's got the Pigpen vibe on the team that's just kind of disheveled? Like most of the team never tucks their jersey in. Snoopy is Quadir Copeland. He's on a side quest now with NC State. I kind of like the Snoopy as mellow, like just too he's Joe Cool. I mean, it's the Joe Cool version of Snoopy. I could do this all day. Is anybody on the team musical? Who's Schroeder? Or does anybody? Who did we do? Who was trying to push on me that somebody like they weren't getting along because they didn't high five? Somebody was saying Betsy and Freeman don't get along based on a lack of a high five. That could make if Donnie is Lucy, that could make Tyler Betsy Schroeder, where he's just trying to get away. Yeah, we're still waiting for Red. I'm just staring at Andy, the ACC media guy who's scrolling his phone, hoping something happens. Who do I think will be the new athletic director? Bruce, I'm hoping it's not the main name out there in Heather Light, because I think that would be a terrible hire. Besides that, I don't really know. All that's been out there, just like some really generic lists of people with Syracuse ties. Like people are all about, hey, get me somebody without Syracuse ties to be the basketball coach. Well, like AD might not be like some fresh ideas at the top of the athletic department would not be a bad idea right now, Bruce. So if you told me they're going to do a legit fair search, yeah, Snoopy's going to be the AD. That'll be a hell of a time. Just everything running. I'd rather Snoopy the AD than Charlie Brown. Just you don't want the world falling down. Linus might be a decent AD, though he might overanalyze some things. He might. Linus could be Cayenne. Who's the blankie? We can. This is what happens when we sit and wait for Red not showing. So, like we're 5 minutes past the point he's supposed to be here. Somehow I'm just not. Oh wait, I spoke too soon. Red. Why are you not hearing this? You guys are not hearing this, are you? Why? Yeah, you're not hearing this at all, are you? Why is that?
In terms of personnel, I mean, is there people that you thought might play better than they played? Is it people that you thought would have different kind of roles than they've had for you?
There we go.
Well, I mean, I think you always put the team together with the best, with the best ideas in mind, that you get the best versions of them. Obviously, other teams, have game planning and stuff like that. I think, again, I think some of the things that we knew would be a concern, issues as far as some of the things is as far as the makeup of some of our speed and some of our athleticism. I thought we addressed, but some of the other things are just kind of in the season. Guys go through slumps or different coverages and things like that you don't really account for.
It's not good when your beat writer Don is working on the "What Went Wrong" article.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Just
Good
wanted
morning.
to ask about Nate King's just what was kind of the process of acquiring him in the transfer portal, and just what has he kind of meant to your team this season?
Senior day story.
Well, Alex Klein, our GM, identified him, and we when he put his name in the portal, we reached out, and Alex did a really good job of connecting with him, and I think for our role this year, we thought we kind of had him pigeonholed as more of a catch and shoot guy. I didn't really know that he was very good at putting the ball on the floor. He had a little bit more to his game. And we thought, and he really grew into, being one of our top options, as the season has progressed. And, really, really good, defender and tough kid. So, tough young man, excuse me. So I think he surpassed, what we kind of had him penciled in as, and we got a little bit more than we thought.
I concur.
I'll go next to Justin Gershon.
Hey, Coach, with how long you've been around the program, just on a personal level, what does it mean to you to be the head coach here at Syracuse?
Obviously, it was a dream come true to me. Me being here, going to school here, being an alum, and being able to work under coach, and now, coming after coach. It's a dream come true. Knew the challenges ahead, and knew it wouldn't be easy. And but again, this is my alma mater. I have nothing but love for this place and want the best for the place.
A lot of past tense in that answer.
Adrian, I've asked this question of a couple other coaches this morning on the call, but when there's outside noise swirling around a program, particularly if it's regarding a coach's job status, how do you deal with the players and keep them focused on the task at hand?
Well, you always tell these guys at the end of the day, these are young men, and you got to be, you got to handle things like a man. And this is what happens. This is part of the job. This comes with the job. And in life, anything that you want is always going to be challenging and hard. And, you got to be able to handle that and reset and recover and keep doing your job and pushing through. So, my job or, the season, how the season is going, you have to finish what you start, and you do it with, great intent. You do it with passion. You don't have any quit. And you don't let that consume you, right? Like, you have to do the job, and there's a job to be done, and that's all that you can do.
It's a nice answer. Decently phrased question from Mike as well.
Obviously, we would like it to go a little bit better, and again, you always got to be hopeful. Hey, we got to get ready for the next game, and you try to build on game to game to game, and you pick your head up when it's all said and done. When they said, "Hey, the season's over with," you pick your head up, and then you deal with it.
Did Red have to cover off his mic to hold his screen or something?
Adrian, I think you're one of 4 or 5 programs that didn't sign anybody on National Signing Day. What was your approach to deciding who to go after and maybe not? And was it any different this year than previous years?
I think when we looked at the high school class and the guys that we looked at, we didn't. I think it was more of us pivoting a little bit more this year. I think every year is different. Some high school classes that you're involved with, guys that you think can come in and help and impact the program right away, just because of the landscape of college basketball is, you don't want to bring guys in that can't help right away, especially in high school, because now you spend a year with them, developing them, and you may not have them the next year. So you really got, everything is who can impact you now. So I thought, this high school class, a couple of guys that we were involved that we thought those guys were impact players. And we were going to lean more towards either retention or trying to go on a transfer portal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, Red. Goodbye, Red. There he goes. Okay, so that is Red's weekly ACC Zoom, and one of those things where you look at what he's going through. That's part of why I've said this whole time of it's like the necessary evil, right, for Red, of like part of why you don't get rid of him before the season is over. It's not about the game. It's so that Red has to sit there and do that, right? So all of those questions and answers, which are not fun, like I'm sure Chris and Donna and Mike didn't enjoy asking those questions, so they phrased them as nicely as possible. Like Red gets the deal. Everyone gets the deal. Everyone gets the deal. But yeah, it's awkward and it sucks. But that's part of it. That's part of it for Red right now. That if they were very the writing is on the wall responses, Jeff. Like the one Dio reporter who asked about like what's it like to have the job, like he answered most of the question in the past tense. Which Red's not, for a lot of people have decided Red's dumb. Red's not dumb. He's aware of what is happening. He's aware it's not good, and he's aware of where things are at. And for all I know, he may be aware that it actually is like nothing's public, obviously. It's very, very possible that Red has been informed that it's over at the end of this season. I don't know that. There have been some rumblings that maybe that has happened. I'm not saying it has or it hasn't. I don't know. But we've seen here in the last week or so, Red, that like before there was angst and just like annoyance in the whole thing. Now, and then like a resignation is part of it. Now he's bringing. I'll give Red credit on this. He's handled the last week, I think, which has not been a fun week starting on Monday with Duke until today. He's handled it with some dignity. He's handled it with some dignity. That's the one, Jordan, that has to be. That's got to be the worst, because like the article, like without knowing what he's writing, like we all know what he's writing. There's going to be an article about what it's like to have your dream job coaching your alma mater and then getting fired from that job and not having your dream job anymore, in a very opposite way that Doug Marrone didn't have his dream job anymore. Ed Ogeron's coaching the Hoots team, Sean. I'd put Ed Ogeron in charge of any team on campus just because he amuses me so much. If you said, "Hey Ed, get out there, run that field hockey squad," I'd be like, "All right, let's do it." He wouldn't have a damn clue what's going on, but I'd say, "Let's do it. Get Ogeron out there." I only use a stick for one side. That was a mediocre Orgeron. I love Ed Orgeron. Oh man. Anyway, where are we at? And as far as transitions that are not nice to Red, but I'm not actually doing it straight to his face. This.
Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse basketball head coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
Oh, there's a transition. So we just had the current SU head coach on the weekly ACC Zoom. And that is one Red Autry. And, Coach O's coming to a coaching clinic. That's also good. Maybe he'll stay and coach the women's soccer team or something. I love Coach O. He's fantastic. Former Orange assistant back in the day. And, man, anybody around here when Coach O was there in the mid-90s, they got Coach O stories, and they're all equally insane. Anywho, time for Who's Next. When we look toward who will be the next Syracuse head coach, we've done Jerry, we've done Matt Langel, we've done Rick Pitino, we've done Jason Hart, we've done Mike Hopkins, we've done Josh Schertz, and looking at the list in my hand, we have run out of anybody that has anything resembling a Syracuse tie, which means it's time to spread our wings and get out there and explore some other candidates. The only two candidates we've looked at so far that don't have Syracuse ties, really, even though, they are Matt Langel and Josh Schertz, and then, Rick Pitino, who's not taking the job. But today, yeah, the Who's Next music is bumping, Sean. It's the whole point of the day. Our Who's Next today is the only coach in the country. There is one coach in the country right now who is undefeated at Division I men's college basketball, because today's Who's Next is Miami of Ohio head coach Travis Steele. Undefeated. I think they're 27-0 right now, the head coach of the undefeated Miami of Ohio. Are they the Bobcats? I don't even know what they are. I think they're the... Is that right? I don't know. He's undefeated, and that's why the current head coach of Miami University, as opposed to the University of Miami. So he is not from the U. Do you do it the other way? Do they do an M? I don't even know. He's from Miami University, a.k.a. Miami of Ohio, in lovely Oxford, Ohio. And Travis Steele is today's Who's Next. So, of the mid-major head coaches we've looked at Jerry, obviously. We've looked at Matt Langle. We've looked at Josh Schertz. Travis is a very interesting case because in many ways, Travis Steele is somewhat like potentially what Red Autry is about to be. Because Travis Steele's path is interesting as he came up through the Xavier ranks. Travis Steele was an assistant coach, he got in with the Millers. He was an assistant coach at Indiana. Then he was assistant coach at Xavier for Sean Miller before he left for Arizona. Then he stayed on at Xavier, the X, as an assistant coach for Chris Mack. And this is in the period where Xavier was unbelievably successful for year after year after year. Xavier had just, listen to this list of Xavier coaches. We're going back to the mid-'80s now. Pete Gillen, Skip Prosser, Thad Matta, Sean Miller, Chris Mack. All of them did great jobs at Xavier, made multiple NCAA tournaments at Xavier, won multiple NCAA tournaments at Xavier, went on to bigger jobs, and then did well at those jobs they went on to. It was one of just and this is for a large portion of that time, they were in the A-10, and then the transition in the last few years of Chris Mack after Syracuse left to the Big East. But Xavier at one point, ending in 2018, starting in 2007, Xavier made the NCAA tournament in 11 out of 12 years. And, won a lot of games. There's a lot of Sweet 16s. There's a couple of Elite 8s, under multiple coaches. Xavier was one of, call it, if you want to call him a mid-major, a high mid-major, whatever the name you want to call what Xavier was toward the top of that group for a long, long time. So in 2018, Chris Mack leaves and takes the Louisville job, which went shockingly poorly. Nobody predicted that was going to go bad, and we're still kind of shocked. It went bad. Travis Steele had been his lead assistant. He takes over Xavier. Xavier was coming off a 29-6 season. You would have figured that it would have just kept rolling. Yet, Travis Steele in 4 years never won 20 games, never made the NCAA tournament, and late in his fourth season, he was fired. And that's one where you look at Red, very similar, right? Long-time assistant, finally gets the head job, and it doesn't go well. Well, here's what's interesting about Travis Steele. Immediately, he got the second life. Because immediately after his firing at Xavier, he got hired in the MAC by Miami of Ohio in 2022. And when he took over Miami of Ohio, he took over a program that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He took over a program that had 12 losing seasons in the previous 13 years, had not been to an NCAA tournament since 2007, and had not won an NCAA tournament game since some guy named Wally Zerbiak was their star player. Here's what Travis Steele, in his second go as a head coach, has done. Yes, namesake of the Steel Curtain defense. Here's what Travis Steele has done in his second go as a head coach. First year, 12-20. Second year, 15-17. Third year, 25-9, and go figure, he lost to his brother. His brother is former Illinois head coach John Gross, who's on his second act, is now the head coach at Akron. Akron and Miami of Ohio was the MAC title game last year, of which Akron won by 2. And this year, Travis Steele and Miami of Ohio are 27-9 And, oh, yeah, Red Hawks, not the Bobcats. I knew Bobcats didn't sound right. The Red Hawks. So this is a guy that first head coaching job, and not quite Syracuse, but Xavier's a really good job. And it's not like it was a mess, but it just wasn't up to the standard of what was before that. Sound familiar? Then immediately got a second chance, stepping down a level, took over a downtrodden program, built, and now what has he done? He's promised that if they're still undefeated by Selection Sunday, did he say he's wearing a Speedo to the selection show? Okay, so Syracuse could go get the guy that might wear a Speedo on Selection Sunday. Let's go with fun. It's something. It's weird. Like, I saw him do one interview that was at halftime of a Syracuse game, and he came off as boring as all get out, but now he's talking about Speedo, so I don't know what to think when it comes to Travis Steele. So this guy is really interesting for this reason. Like, his time at Xavier, while not the level of Syracuse, like if Syracuse was here, Xavier's was right there. Like, Xavier was as big of a non-major program in the country as there could be outside of Gonzaga for 20 years. You got to the tournament time, you all know this, like if you were filling out a bracket like at the tournament time, you'd pencil Xavier to win a game or two, and more often than not, you'd be right. And if you didn't pencil Xavier in to win a game or two, you'd be wrong. Like, that's just the way it went when it came to the tournament. He was part of a lot of that. He worked under Sean Miller, who I also didn't realize Sean is now at Texas. Like, when did that happen? He worked under Chris Mack. He worked under some really, really high-level and good and majorly successful college basketball coaches. Majorly successful college basketball coaches. And he worked at a program that won a lot. Then he got his chance, and it didn't work. But here he is. He's still not that old. He was older than me, but not much. He's 45, I think. He's 45 or 46, so he's got plenty of tread left on the tires. And this is one where he's taken over Miami of Ohio. He's put the time in. This wouldn't be like a popped in, ran away. This is 4 years in. They're having the dream season. Like, this is the time you potentially cash in. So, like, when you're looking at all these coaches, Brian Hodgson, who we talked about, Josh Schurz, Matt Langle. If you're going to define Schurz as ungettable, because St. Louis fans keep telling me that Schurz isn't going anywhere, and they're very, very adamant about this. So if we're to believe Billiken fans for a second, like, as far as hot and winning this season, like, Travis Steele's the name, even beyond Hodgson. Now, Hodgson has other ties, right? And obviously USF's doing really well, but Hodgson's been bip-bopping around all over the place. Like, he had 2 years at Arkansas State. Now it's his first year at USF. Steele has built Miami of Ohio over 4 years here, which I find very interesting to look at. And you talk about fun style. Miami of Ohio this year is averaging 92 points a game, if you want something interesting to watch. 92 points a game. And they've gone 2 years ago, 70 a game. Last year, 80 a game. This year, 92 points a game, if you have any concern about offense. So he's a guy I find very interesting because of it's the time at Xavier, and then it's the fact that it went wrong, and then it's the fact that his next thing, talk about learning from your mistakes, right? Learning from what didn't work. Immediately, like, he didn't sit out. He got this gig right away, and he built, and he built, and he built, and he's having success. Yeah, I think St. Louis fans are being wishful. Like, I think if a Big Ten school or Syracuse or whatever comes and throws a bag at shirts, like, come on. I just refuse to believe. I've been working this hard my whole career to become the head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. Like, it does, 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 9,008. Like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe he's that guy, because the one St. Louis fan keeps telling me he wants to turn them into the Gonzaga of the Midwest. See, okay? Sure. Let's go with that. But I'd toss Travis Steele into the pile of, like, okay, this guy now has experience. This is his 8th year of being head coach. This guy has had experience of it going wrong. He's had experience of learning, bottoming out a bit and then figuring it out again. And with Xavier, while it's not Syracuse, this guy's had the experience being at a school where there is significant pressure to win basketball games, right? Like, there is nothing bigger at Xavier than Xavier basketball. And then in Cincinnati, like those Xavier Cincinnati games every year, break out the Skyline Chili. Those games get crazy. Those games get absolutely crazy. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, Matt and why that Josh Schertz is locked in for all time at St. Louis. Where is Travis Steele from? Travis Steele is from. He was born in Danville, Indiana, so he's a Midwestern guy. Like, I also look at specifically Steele and Schurz. I look at if there is to be a Big Ten job that is going to be opening this year, which I don't. Let's see. Where's the Big Ten standings? I'm not up on my Big Ten. My Big Ten rumor mongering. Like Penn State's terrible. Don't they have a? I just don't know what Big Ten jobs are going to be open. Like Buzz Williams is his first year at Maryland. He's doing terribly. Like Rutgers. I'm just looking at are any of the traditional Midwest Big Ten jobs going to open? Like Ohio State's kind of right on the fringe. They're 17-10, 9-7. They might be getting a little twitchy there. Yeah, there's some schools in the middle there. Like if any of those jobs open, like you're telling me Josh Schertz is turning down Ohio State or Indiana or something like that, I don't believe it. And those feel like they'd be very similar jobs that like a Travis Steele, based on where he's coaching and his background and all that would make a lot of sense should it open up. Like the Ohio State job, Matt NY, stands out to me as one that very potentially could be open this year. They're getting fed up with Diebler is either the brother of their former player. Diebler is the head coach, I do believe. They're getting fed up with him. They're not necessarily in position. Maybe they make the tournament, maybe they don't. Like the Ohio State job, obviously, would have just buckets and buckets of cash going along with it. That would be a very, very attractive opening, and one where you get it and you also can, kind of peacefully live in the shadow of the Ohio State football program. Like, you tell me Josh Scherz is going to turn down that? Like, man. Matt Norlander has Syracuse as the number one job in the cycle. Yeah, it's possible. I don't know if any of those is that a recent thing from Norlander? Matt Norlander. The Syracuse job is a major job. The Syracuse job is a major job, and I get it hasn't felt like it recently. Yeah, Doug Marrone. Is this a recent thing from Norlander? Where do we have it? Yeah, the Buckeye. Like the Big Ten schools. Look at Indiana football. They got the cash. They have cash. They have all cash. Throw Steel merchandising. Yeah. You know who'd come help him out with the merchandising? Fran could get involved in that, Weeze. Just get Fran down there. He's like, hang on a second. I've got thoughts, and we are ready to do it. But there we are. Travis Steele, I think he's a very interesting name because of his background and because he has had the good and the bad of the head coaching experience, right? It was not just the mediocre. It was mediocre. It was not a meteoric rise with no issues. He sputtered on takeoff, crashed, put the ship back together, blasted off again, and now he's 27-0. And because that, I find Travis Steele to be a very, very interesting candidate. So there we are. Travis Steele, the currently undefeated head coach of the Miami University Redhawks, is today's Who's Next. On Thursday, we may make it a theme week of Who's Next. I think I'm currently leaning toward making it a Who's Next theme week. Guess what the theme will be, and you can figure out perhaps who will be next coming up on Thursday. All right. This is you ranking the openings, Sean Lewis. Now we have Sean's ranking the openings. Syracuse, Cincinnati, Providence, Pitt. Pitt's in big trouble. Like, they need to have an opening, and I don't know if they can because that contract's so long. This is Matt Norlander's list. So Cuse 1, Cincinnati 2, Providence 3. Yeah, Providence will be open. Pitt 4, LSU 5, Arizona State, Kansas State, Butler, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, Boston College. all right, like here's where I look at that list, and this is the main thing that's not in that list right now, is one of the, like in Ohio State or one of the major Big Ten jobs. I think as far as a lot of the names we've discussed, Travis Steele today, Josh Schurz, specifically those two, as far as the names we've discussed, like if those guys want a big job, of that list, Syracuse makes the most sense. If an Ohio State or something of that ilk in the Big Ten opens up, specifically where those two guys are coaching now, and like with Steele, his background is in the Midwest like that, you could see Syracuse sliding down that list. But from a nationally, Syracuse is still a major job. A double empanada. What makes it double? How do you double an empanada? Did you make an empanada, then you put it inside another empanada? Yeah, right now, Matt and Y asked me this the other day in one of our shows. He asked me, all right, predict right now who you think the next Syracuse head coach is going to be. Like right now, today, if I had to place a guess, I'd guess Hodgson. Like if I'm going to make a guess today, I'd guess Hodgson. But, have the conversation with a guy like Steele. Call up Josh Schurz. Like, Hodgson is not such a runaway favorite, clearly the best guy, obvious choice that you don't play it out. I mean, I still talk to Jerry. Like, I talk to these guys. I talk to Matt Langel. Like, there's no Syracuse basketball hasn't had, like, heck, even when they hired, like, when's the last time Syracuse basketball's had, like, a legitimate huge coaching search? I don't even know. I mean, it's 7 decades ago? Like, when? Like, when Fred Lewis got hired? Like, who the hell knows? Like, this is going to be your first time in a really, really long time to dig in on it. Like, everybody involved in this owes it to everybody else involved in this to steal a John Wildhack term. Let's do the due diligence. I need diligence. I need as much diligence done as possibly could be done. You give me diligence in this. I want all of the diligence to be done. The diligence is due. Get out there and talk to all of these people. Say, this is the best available job in the country. Why should we hire you? Why are you going to fix this? And see what the guys say. You can say it nicer than that. You probably don't need to do all the pointing. That's a little aggressive. With the pointing, but yeah, I think you got to do it, and you're gonna have like a full week and a half, 2 weeks to do it before you really get caught up in a deadline of pressure and all of that. Is there an NBA assistant that deserves a segment? I mean, I don't think. I mean, there was a tie there with Florida State. Like, he was an alum, Matt NY. That was the tie there. So. No, is the short answer. I don't think, like, the connection there is he was an alum to Florida State. Like, there's nobody like that in the NBA that I can think of, unless I'm forgetting anybody. Like, Hop is the Syracuse guy that's an NBA assistant right now. No, not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. I'm thinking. No is the answer to that question. And with that, we shall table the rest of our questions until later in the week, as we have been live here in the 315 to kick off the week here on a Monday. Remember, coffee candles back in stock. Back in stock at Simply Sweet Sisters. Get yours today. Act fast, or else somebody else might buy them all. You never know what's going to happen. Act fast, act now. Wednesday night, me, Jordan, he's in the chat. We'll be TPS reporting it at 8 o'clock. Back live in the 315 Thursday at 11. Lax postgame Friday, Hoops postgame on Saturday. All right, everybody, enjoy your start to the week. We'll talk again right here on YouTube a Wednesday evening.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.